going to monitor the chat box on Skype.
Okay.
And if people want to talk live, probably he can come this way and that time with the screen. But if in terms of chat box on YouTube, it'll actually show the people.
Okay.
So we'll be monitoring that.
So if he comes and stands to talk to people directly, then like how does that work in terms of the camera positioning? Will it still look like he's talking to them?
I'll actually just turn the camera
Oh.
to him and zoom out.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. Because part of what I was thinking is like somebody is like moderating and then like she's gonna present like, hey sir, we have somebody
Lt Cordry.
just saying the order, like here's who's next to present or
yeah.
I just hate when people are talking over each other. It just gets
Yeah.
awkward and it's hard to regulate.
You good?
I think so. I'm gonna put a fan right here.
Hitting
so
is
that when-
hotter than hell.
Yeah, when Lt Cordry is speaking, maybe.
Is the in-person talking,
See feeling?
and we'll say, okay, no, we're going to introduce the people on Skype. If they'd like to say a few words, go ahead and type in the chat box. There's 2 words to speaking and going.
So are we going to be in the room or we have to?
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna do like a part where the residents are in the room,
And then we leave.
and then Wheelie and the faculty comes in.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just, and so we'll keep switching between that room and that.
Because it's late, I did bring it over.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody in that city, if you want to just announce, like, there's food in the break room, if you want to grab it. There's also a cake, so we haven't seen it either, so just to, I don't know if we maybe start with that, just to say, go ahead if you want to grab the person who's here.
Yeah.
Or, if I put it further,
Ma'am, it's the blue one, it's my fault. That one can stay, I just put that blue one
oh, it's
there.
this one?
So
I
your
didn't even know
fan
there was
is
another one.
fine.
We'll put that one in the break
Yeah.
room, maybe.
Yeah, my thoughts
Hot in there too.
would be it'd be good to have one blowing on Colonel Cordry here, but no air for him.
We'll probably just have to figure that out along the way, however he wants to do it. But I would imagine.
Yeah, that one was mine.
Okay,
I like a noisy fan.
I would imagine he's gonna just make comments. Probably start with a mix of residents and faculty.
Because we should have everyone in the room, should we? That's, yes. Do you think we should carry him in on his chair? Like
Or he needs a
like a bar
delegate
mitzvah?
style. Or he needs a delegate style.
Let's do that.
Travel on the edge, it's always where I burn to be. Further on the edge, the hotter the intensity. Highway to the danger zone. I'm gonna take it right into the danger zone.
Do you need anything? Okay, so do you have the order in your head or whatever? Because I know we didn't talk, we just did this over email.
Yeah, that's true. All right, now I think we're both live on YouTube and also on Skype. So a couple ROEs for the people on Skype is that when you want to speak, we'll actually bring the floor to you for comments on Skype, so that you can actually be on video meeting with Colonel Cordry live. And for the people on YouTube, you're just going to be getting the information passively. So if you want to speak, you can type into the chat box and share your well wishes, and we can read those out loud after the folks on Skype can go. After this, if you're unable to see, let's say, the slideshow from Skype, you'll be able to go to YouTube and view it with more clarity. I'll leave the link up for quite a while after this, so you don't have to watch it live. You can actually go back and watch the slideshow later. With the wonderful music, kudos to a couple of residents, Captain Galavera and Captain Roy, for putting a lot of that together and really taking that process. So if for whatever reason we lose connectivity, feel free to text one of us that is in the room, and we'll try and get it back up and running, because we don't want people to miss out on the festivities. So we're definitely going to get through a lot today, so bear with us if tech fails. So appreciate your time.
All right.
Thank you, Major K.
Yeah, if you're going to text somebody, it's probably good that they text you.
Yeah.
If they text me, I'm not going to be able to fix it.
Right. We also have it streaming in the break room in case anybody wants to. We can do some social distancing by having half the folks go to the break room. And there's also some food and refreshments there, courtesy of Colonel Oates and a couple others. So definitely feel free to go watch on the monitor in the break room. You'll get pretty much the same experience. So.
If we're on camera, can we take off our bags?
Oh yeah, maybe we can take off our badges if we're in the room. Good call, Major Brown. Thank you. All right, ma'am.
All right, thank you for that. So with that being said, just wanted to say that you may have noticed some of the decor in the room, right? So we went with a superhero Avengers theme, because this is one of our favorite persons on this side of the universe, right? He is absolutely amazing, but since he's one of our favorite people, we wanted to honor him with some of his favorite things as well. So he loves all things Avengers and Pokemon and just anything superhero comic life like. So all that being said, it's also very symbolic of who Colonel Cordry is to us as well. He's got that superhero, larger-than-life, fun-loving kind of personality. It shows by the turnout and all of what we've done to try to show him a good send-off. So we wanted to honor you in the way that you've honored us, because you are larger-than-life to us. You've been a joy for us to be around, and you definitely make it fun to train and to work and get dirty together with some of the things that we have to do to get the mission done. So because of you, we hope you have a joyous occasion, and we hope to keep the levity going, because that's what you've meant to us. You work hard, you play hard, and we just really love you. Want to give you a great send-off, because you are our superhero. So with that, we're going to open up the floor to anybody. This is your chance, okay? Anybody who wants to roast Colonel Cordry or share what he's meant to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, well, I'll start just so that I can attend to tech issues later. But in terms of being a faculty member with Colonel Cordry, in terms of being a faculty member with Colonel Cordry, so I've been at 2 different residency training sites, and it's really hard to not only manage the chaos of being at a residency site, but also running a normal clinic operation in and of itself. And I think some of the things that he does really well that others maybe have not done as well in my experience is keeping it very light and also staying to the mission. So he makes sure that stuff gets done, but he doesn't make it a big deal if stuff isn't going well. He just kind of rolls with the punches in a way that I think really demonstrates the ideal of an Air Force psychologist, the flexibility that he's demonstrated, but also just his candor. And, you know, walking through, I had a really hard transition coming here, and he was my direct supervisor, has been my direct supervisor for the last 2 years, so more flexibility there. So he's been my direct supervisor for 2 years, and going through a difficult transition, I just want to share that I've really appreciated you being there for me. When I was having my hardest times, you'd walk by and make sure that I get out of work on time, tend to my family, and make sure that I have a balance. And I think that's not something that a lot of supervisors really go out of their way to do. And you know, it has touched so many people, I'm sure, across your career. The way that your just natural approach really speaks to people, and honestly, it's rare. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you. From a faculty perspective, you make it really easy to work as a faculty member. And just as a person, I've really grown fond of you, and I really appreciate the time that I got to spend with you. So as a token of my appreciation, I got you a hat for retirement. I know in retirement it's required that you wear hats with lots of ribbons and stuff like that. So I got him started with a little hold my beer hat. There's a patch on the back that indicates that he's now a regular guy. And then on the top I gave him our custom health psychology patch as a token of my appreciation. So. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much. Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to be a regular guy. That's like part of my plan is to hang out at, you know, whatever commissary or BX I can find. Talk to the people as they come in, and man, you look young to be a captain. I've got some of the language down. I'm ready.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go. I don't have any presents for you, sir, because you are a millionaire. So you don't need that. He's a retired officer. So one of the things that I found interesting about Colonel Cordry, for those of you who may not be aware of this, is he's extremely famous throughout the Air Force. Mostly the mental health career field, and mostly just with women. So every time I go TDY somewhere, and I go quite frequently, I run into female providers and technicians, and they say, "Are you stationed with Colonel Cordry?" I go, "Yes." And they go, "Oh my God, he's so hot." And I go, "Okay, that's weird. Why is that your approach to me?" And they're like, "Well, he's also a really awesome guy to work with." And I was like, "Okay, well that makes more sense." And so the Brad Pitt thing, right? He's heard it a million times. If you look in the hallway, he looks like him. This guy doesn't, but the thing that I've noticed though is. I've talked to a lot of people at the bases he's been stationed with before, and while they jokingly talk about his looks, all of them talk about how he helped them in their career, how he is a really great person to work for because he is balanced, he's reasonable. In my own personal experiences, right, we don't get into it very often, but occasionally I piss him off. But, like, being upset about a situation and being upset with people are two separate things to him, which is something I think is very admirable. And it's always the situation's over and we move on and it's great. And I really enjoyed working with you. I enjoy when we talk about stuff. I like my brain doesn't work anymore and I need to bitch about this sessions because sometimes you just need to scream into the ether, and you are my ether, sir. So thank you, and enjoy retirement. Not that you've retired yet, but you're close.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for letting me waste your time like I do many other people that go and chat. So I appreciate that.
Did you know about your reputation, sir?
I've heard that a time or two. Yeah. So on my first deployment, this was when I was at Travis. I was deployed with Chief Moore and to Iraq, and then our technicians sent us a care package. And mine, they had cut out all these pictures of Brad Pitt on the care package, which made me think they had a lot of free time on their hands while we weren't there. But it was, yeah. So yes, I've heard that a time or two. I think if I, maybe had a personal trainer and wasn't, was able to have all the trappings of Hollywood, the human growth hormone, and human adrenal gland, I could probably have preserved my youth a little bit more, but it is what it is.
Other times undefeated.
I'm telling you, nothing you can do about it.
Should we go to the residence now?
I can go. I'm really bad at this. Am I supposed to go up there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's like a camera, so you should be in front of it.
Okay. So you were like my first exposure to the military. You interviewed me for HPSP, and then you were assigned as my mentor while I was in school. You were always so kind. And even when I was super nervous, even interviewing, when I interviewed here, when I interviewed for HPSP, I remember you telling me to just take deep breaths, and you always remind me to like have a good work-life balance, and just feel like you've always been there. And similar to what Major Kolpinski said, I feel like when I needed somebody the most, or when I was going through like really difficult things, you were always there. You were always really supportive. So thank you. So super lucky that I matched here, because I really, really wanted to train under you, because I just the only thing I really knew about the Air Force was you, right? It was. And I'm like,
You are the Air Force.
I knew nothing, you know. It was just like in grad school, and I got this scholarship, and this is the man that, you know, interviewed me, and every time I wrote an email, he wrote me back. But that's all I really had. I was like, he's always so nice, you know, and I'm always like, and I'd be nervous writing you emails, and like, I have to say sir, and I have to use all the right words, and I need to use the big words, and sometimes you'd write me back with like a K. But I don't know, but it was great. It was just like, it just made you human. It made like the Air Force like more approachable, and what I was about to do more approachable. So yeah, just thank you, and just the best of luck to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. No, I do remember us doing those interviews. You're probably the first HPSB student that like I interviewed, and then was the mentor for, then came here, and so
Then we did long-term supervision.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing. It's like you sort of grow these bonds and attachments, and I've really enjoyed working with you. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad that you came here. So you know.
Thank you.
All right, I'll go. Hello.
Start the clock.
I promise I will not be verbose.
Timer started now.
I got my speech next week, ma'am. I'm saving it up for that.
Okay.
Sir, I think we talked a lot about this yesterday, but I just want to say it's been an awesome year. Coming back in from the Navy, it was kind of an adjustment moving into the Air Force realm, but I'm really glad that I had you to guide me through that realm, and as a long-term supervisee. And I'm just going to echo what I said yesterday, and that as a supervisor, I think all the supervisors in the world that supervise psychology residents and social work residents should really strive to be like this man has been for me, and that is just above and beyond. He's more than just a check-the-box type supervisor. And what I mean by that is, yes, we do the clinical stuff. We talk about countertransference, and we talk about... But I'm really glad that I had you to guide me through that reality.
Deja vu.
It's like another dimension.
That's kind of like the Marvel timeline. It's like, it's a little discombobulated.
Wow. Bruce Banner's going to be diving in any second.
Well, that's it. Let them do the talking.
It's so good to hear that.
Let yourself do the talking.
Yeah.
While we're doing that, I'm going to make an executive decision here that if you're hot, you can take off your blouses. It's super hot in here. People in TV land, please understand. I don't want anybody to pass out. Our chiller is out in the med group if you need to know. In virtual land, it's hot in here.
Oh, is that the problem?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's what the hot all day. Well, I'm already too sweaty. So.
Yeah, I want you to
I
not
know,
fall out
right?
on here.
I'm taking pictures, so you
Yeah,
gotta
I'm
get
Chef Philippe calling, so.
When I said this morning, I was doing so well.
All right. Well, that's interesting. That better not happen there. Dear God.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
Good work.
Yeah, so I guess what I was trying to say is that you went above and beyond, and so yes, we did the clinical stuff, but then also too, you were there for me during some of a very couple dark months for me, just dealing with a couple passings of a couple different friends, and you were right there walking alongside me during those times, and so it was I really appreciate that. Kept me going, and just really positive and hopeful, and just one foot after the next. So thank you for walking through those experiences with me. It means a lot. So
You're very welcome. Yeah, no, I've enjoyed working together, kind of like we talked about yesterday. It's unusual. I mean, we've had a lot of extra time together because you came a little bit early. So, you know, and even, you know, it's probably a compliment when your name becomes both a verb and a noun. It talks about giving people the full Melina. Ben Melina. It's a compliment in terms of, obviously, like it kind of reminded me of my grandfather, who, whenever we used to go around town, he'd always run into people that he knows, and it was the same thing. I don't think you have too many strangers in your life. So anyway,
maybe with COVID, I
maybe a few more, but it's been a blast.
Absolutely, likewise, sir. So thank you.
Anybody else in the room or live? Oh, there's one.
All right, I'll say something. I'm not good at this either.
I keep hearing that qualifier, and yet people are doing exceedingly well.
Well, there's added pressure now.
Good luck.
But, sir, I came here for the first time when you were coming here for the first time, starting as training director and me starting as an extern. And it was my first time being in the real Air Force. And I was nervous, what if the Air Force doesn't like me? I'm so used to being purple at USIS. I actually joined intending to be Army, so it was my first time getting to find out why everybody said I got the better end of that deal.
Make a better judgment.
Yeah. And it was just so exciting to go to your office and see a bookshelf thing of Portal video game and all the Legos, and just know that I'm in a place where I can be my dorky personality, and that's okay. I can still become a training director someday. And you just always made this place so welcoming that I wanted to come back. And that was in no small part because of the environment that you create. So, thank you.
Yeah, no, it was. It's always fun. We kind of have a little bit of an unfair advantage in some ways of when we get to have externs come here, because then we get to see you guys and get to know you, and you guys get to know us. Maybe that's not always an unfair advantage. That may work against us sometimes, but no, it's been great. And when you asked me to do your promotion ceremony, that was a huge honor for me, and I really appreciate you letting me be a part of that. Again, it's so, that's one of the best parts about this job, is getting to see people, as they transition from various parts of their career, from student to, intern, and then now on to being full-fledged psychologist very soon. And anyway, it's been a pleasure and a lot of fun to work with you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Where'd Lieutenant?
You disappeared.
That's right.
I know. Oh, there you go. Okay. So Colonel Cordry, similar to Captain de Oliveira, I came here as an extern, and I just have the fondest memories of you. And one of the fondest memories is of you coming around at the 4:30 every Friday and saying go home, no matter what we were doing. And hearing that as an extern, I want to go. But Captain Feisley used to give me the look, you better sit down and finish this note. And so I think hearing what everybody else said is kind of a testament of how great of a person you are. I know for me, I thought I was just this special person, and we have such a great relationship. But in working on your retirement committee, everybody has that special relationship with you, and you just make people feel so great about themselves. I am going to miss you coming into my office and having conversations with me. It's funny because he'll send me an email, and then he'll come over and he was like, I just want to see how fast I can get here before the email does. Because your computer is slow as shit. And so I'll miss those candid conversations, and you've just been an awesome person to work with. Like Captain de Oliveira, I came back here mostly to work with you. And I think, again, it is a testament that we both came back as externs to come here, and a lot of that had to do with you and your leadership. And so I really appreciate it. you making this year good for me in growth, like professionally and also personally. So I thank you.
Thank you. It's always fun having an office right across the way, and I appreciate the fact that you're not easily offended, because I used to get a hard time about this in the old building, that I forget that sound travels and my door is open, and I do occasionally drop language that maybe shouldn't go on the internet. Well, it probably is fine on the internet, but maybe not. Depends on the audience. But and you're never offended by that, so I appreciate that. And we've had a lot of good, candid conversations. It's been a huge blessing to have you here this year. It's you've got a lot of experience, and I think you use it well to help the team. And I've been really impressed with how you guys have really been a really strong team together. So it's been my pleasure too. So
thank you, sir. Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you.
Am I the last resident? I didn't play. Am I the last resident?
No, there's someone.
Oh, okay.
He said,
Take a number.
"Tell him," I was like, well, I gotta go back in the hallway.
Let me take this off.
So I almost wore that uniform.
You
I wore this uniform. This is the last day I could wear it because I don't have any coyote brown boots. And so come Monday, I can't wear this uniform anymore.
They changed that. It's to October now or September. You're good.
You're all good.
Oh,
It's like bonding.
yeah, this was like a thing,
It was like
we're old school. We've been
Yeah.
around for a minute.
I look at him and I'm like, we're never giving it up. But
There we are.
apparently he traded on me. But when I look at Colonel Cordry and I think about it, like it's fun, bubbly, just personality, and I'm like, damn, he made it through 20 years without getting arrested, without getting arrested.
There are a lot of people who had that reaction, I think.
I'm like, what kind of loopholes or who did he pay off? Like, how did this even happen? But the funny thing is, we was just talking yesterday about some of the things that he's looking forward to, like being able to travel without getting like a OSI brief or without getting the commander's approval and things like that. And those are all things that you deserve, I really want you to try to reflect and think about, like, God, what does Dr. Cordry like to do? You know what I mean? Like, sit back and really self-reflect. I know we was talking about how hard it's going to be, and you've touched the lives of so many individuals. Not only residents, but you've been flight commander at multiple installations, OICs at multiple installations, and you just poured a lot. And that legacy you leave behind is definitely not forgotten. And as we reach back and we look at the prior residents, and as we go to many TDYs, which I would talk about, but I'm not. But, I'll come back to that a little bit later. But yeah, just the multiple lives you've touched, and I just want you to kind of really sit back and self-reflect and think about it. Like, you made a big positive impact in a lot of people's lives, personally and professionally. And that's no small thing. And I just like, God, it's amazing when you really sit back and look at it. That you did that, you did it flawlessly. Well, I won't say flawlessly, but you did it. There's always room. What do you guys tell us? There's always a little bit of room.
That's good.
Still got a week, sir.
Yeah.
But definitely outstanding job, and I do gotta tell you guys. So I first met Lt Cordry at a TDY, and when I got here, and I was like, I wonder what is he like, with post TDY, after the TDY. What is he like normally without a couple of beverages and things? So it was nice meeting like the real you, because I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, okay, I seen the one, but I don't know. But also, on behalf of the social work residents, I definitely want to just say thank you from all of us. I know Lieutenant Berger's going to say some words, but Lieutenant Everett's not able to be here. But the inclusion process definitely is one thing that I'm so thankful for. Whether it was didactics, trips, and things like that, it was never once where I felt like it was kind of like us versus them. And that shows, under your leadership, that's the type of environment and culture that you foster. So hopefully Colonel Stoddard, I know he's not here, maybe he's YouTubing or something, but maybe he'll keep that same sentiment going. But I definitely want to appreciate it. I definitely want to say I appreciate it and just thank you for everything.
Well, yeah, thank you. It was fun getting to meet. I think we met first time probably on that tee.
Definitely, that one. Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything more about that other than it was a fun time. But no, I really appreciate getting to work with you. You're kind of the fact that you went from being like this sort of pinnacle as an NCO, and now I've come over to the dark side to be an officer. the Air Force has gotten they have no idea just how lucky they are that they've got you, because they do have you now for a couple more years. But you're going to get to keep doing some awesome stuff as a social worker. But yeah, no, I think I got here at the same time as Major Cuevas, and she had actually been at Fort Charlie when I was at Travis, and then went to the dark side as well. So anyway, it's been fun working with her and trying to coordinate to keep the residency programs kind of on the same footing and take advantage of the same stuff. Because I mean, that's the way it is in the Air Force. Like, it doesn't matter what your profession is. You know, you have a rank, and we're all part of the same team. So anyway, yeah, Air Force is fortunate to have you wherever it is that you're going next.
Have you heard anything?
Travis.
No.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, sir.
All right. And no, the answer is no, I have not heard. I just checked my email, but I know that we're close. 'Cause Major Bradford did reach out to me yesterday, and I think she's given the last couple pieces in place. So we'll see what happens.
So, sir, 20 years, huge accomplishment. The only people in this room that's actually been in as long as I have. So, I had 22 years on Tuesday. So,
I thought that was a joke. Sorry.
No, no, Tuesday is 22 years for me. Thank you. So I just know the accomplishment to be able to stay in that long and to succeed in your profession. But I just want to reiterate what kind of Lieutenant Lyman said. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is never making us social work residents feel like a second-class citizen. Because Colonel Stouter actually talked to me privately and asked how I was being treated here, because he's seen that as a problem before, the social work residents not getting treated with respect. And I told him that I absolutely never felt that way. You, Colonel Stouter, just all the other site residents, everyone here, Major Kopinski, everyone just treats us with the same respect, and being on the same training program, all the didactics you set up with us, is just great. And I'm leaving here just with a wealth of knowledge because of just your leadership, and you're just the type of person I want to be when I become a leader. So, but Colonel Cordry is actually the first person I ever spoke to here, because because Major Cuevas was on maternity leave and we weren't contacted. And I actually contacted the mental health clinic Monday after we graduated from COT, and said I explained who I was and I was coming. I haven't heard from anyone. And they transferred me to Colonel Cordry, which I wasn't expecting a lieutenant colonel to be on the end of the line. But he explained to me, told me to take the week and then show up on the following Monday, because that's what I told him my plan was. He said, do that, show up ready to learn. I was, and I really just appreciated all I learned from you. And Andrews was my first choice, and I obviously don't know what the other sites were like, but I could tell that it was a great choice. So. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's same. The Air Force is getting to take advantage of your wealth of experience. The fact that you're competing with Captain Molina for trying to hit every branch of service.
Well, I just need Navy, and he needs Army, so
yeah. So
we complement each other.
But it's such a huge asset, and you use it well, and the fact that you everybody's been so eager to learn and dive in, and the Air Force is going to be very fortunate as you guys go out and do some great things. As soon as you find out your assignments, I don't know when that will be.
We're waiting too. Anxiously.
Yeah, just assume it's mine if that's where you don't want to go. I mean, if that's where you want to go, you're fine.
Anxious. Well, we're all anxious, but I think that might be an understatement. We want to know.
I know. Come on. I have to give you guys credit. Like, this is unusual. Most years it's sort of like, I have a steady stream of people at my door. Like, hey, when are we going to get the list? Hey, when are we going to get the list? Hey, where are we going? Where are we going? When are we going to find out? But you guys have definitely held it together very well. I'm impressed.
You only see half of us at a time, so.
Yeah, no, I personally going like crazy over it, but anyway. But thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for all you've done.
Sir, there's nothing I can really say that everyone in this room hasn't already echoed, but it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you. You are so enjoyable. You're such a breath of fresh air. Like, it's so clear how much everybody just absolutely loves you.
and very much foster the ideal climate where people are productive but also taking care of themselves, which I think is just a huge plus for leadership in general, just making sure that your people are taken care of and that they're also feeling to have permission to take care of themselves too. You're also really supportive when I had people that I lost this year as well, and just making sure that I got what I needed. When I first applied to the different sites, you talked to me on the phone for hours just about the ins and the outs of what it's like to be here, really explaining that fused role of military officer with clinical psychologist. So admittedly, I was hooked. You're very charismatic, and I really wanted to come here and work with you, and I'm so glad that I did. So thank you so very much.
Well, I have to tell you, we are thrilled that you came here as well. I remember, when we're reviewing applications and things, and then we're talking, and Major Kalpinski and I were talking, and it's okay, we got to put the full court press on and make sure that we get Captain Roy and convince her that this is where she needs to go. Because I know that you probably had that from multiple people, but you've been such a joy to work with. You're so pleasant and have such a great background and experience. And anyway, it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, sir. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And congratulations. I miss you so much.
I'll be really quick. I always say that, but I'm usually not, but this time I am.
Okay.
I don't like goodbyes. Just being in the Air Force and then being in the time that we've been in, you say goodbye a lot. Sometimes I like it when it's someone you don't like, but it's always really hard when it's someone that you really respect and appreciate within the flight. And you're kind of a mentor to me, not in the sense for career progression. I've been in 19 years, so I kind of had a little bit of an idea. Yeah, but mentors aren't always people who help you with career things. They're also people that help you with life things. And between you and Colonel Oates, you guys helped me out through a lot of things, and a lot of the candid conversations that we had after hours, during hours, probably kept the strike right here, and I really appreciate that. The conversations I enjoyed, you just helped me kind of, put things into perspective, and just allowed me to talk, and I think that's what we really need sometimes, and so we're really going to miss you. I'm really jealous, but I'm really happy for you. I heard a lot of, I haven't gotten a job yet, I haven't done that, I kept telling them, it's going to happen. You're going to be fine, and it sounds like you're going to, have a really great job after, and I'm really happy for you and your family.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that, and appreciate your putting up with my anxiety about all of that stuff. I will tell you guys, obviously we shared a lot and chatted a bunch. You guys will be as successful as you have good senior NCOs to mentor you. You have to listen to what they have to say, because they will make or break you. I remember my first flight command. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I was fortunate to have a senior master sergeant who was there on a humanitarian that kept me from going to jail. So that was nice. My gum just came out, sorry.
These things happen. It's okay.
Can you tissue or you good?
No, I'm good. I think I got it back. But anyway, and these are two of the best senior NCOs that I had a chance to work with. It's really not fair. Don't let the rest of the Air Force know. I mean, we're not going to have these two together for very much longer, but because of that reason. But anyway, if there's one piece of advice you take from me, that's it. Go talk to the senior NCO. They'll keep you out of jail. They'll help you do the right thing as a leader. So.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think one of the things that's most widely appreciated from me and from everybody else is every time I would come to your office, no matter what you were doing, you could be in the middle of lunch, writing something, whatever, you would just drop whatever you're doing and help whatever stupid question I had for you, which is always appreciated, because there were definitely a lot of stupid questions that I had for you, what does this acronym mean, or where is this paper, or whatever. So that's definitely something that's very appreciated. I was very nervous about coming to the military, because I typically tend to be just kind of more of a laid-back type B person sometimes. and you did my initial interview, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, do I say sir? Like, what do I call you? What does LTCOL mean? Like, not really sure what's going on. And within a couple of minutes, you asked me about my dissertation, and I got really nervous because I hate talking about stats, and you're like, you'll never use stats again. And I was like, oh, thank God he gets it. Okay, cool, we're good. And so just like ever since that moment, it's like, okay, there are like humans in the Air Force and in the military, and just from there, you just built this foundation for me, and I think for all of us here, of just like, okay, like, you know, there are of course those moments where like I have no idea what I'm doing, but having you there to back us up no matter what we do, no matter how much we may screw up, it just felt so like safe and secure, and that just means so much to me, and I'm sure all of us here too. So thank you for all that you do. Even those moments where I just come to you and talk to you about stupid stuff like our mutual hatred for Tom Brady.
That's not stupid. That's admirable.
You know, I have to say, I was really impressed. I actually took a look back at the pictures. Those were intentionally like selected for the pictures that they were covering. If you see, those of you who saw it, like it was intentional. I really appreciated the effort that you put forward, and I appreciate the fact that you also despise Tom Brady, and so that's. That makes me feel warm in my heart. But no, I mean, I think that's been something that I've always tried to do, and I would encourage other people to do too, is to keep your door open. I mean, as a leader, your job is to help people solve their problems, and if your door is closed, it doesn't send a message that like, hey, I'm here to help. I mean, obviously there are times you do have to have boundaries for yourself and close your door because things got to get done. But anyway, no, that's always something I've always enjoyed. And I never felt like any of the questions were stupid. It's always like, you know, there's a lot to learn. I mean, I still screw stuff up, so that's a beautiful thing. The Air Force is pretty forgiving, really, for a lot of mistakes. Trust me, I mean, here I am. So. But anyway, no, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Okay, maybe now it's my turn. I was looking around. So one of the themes that stands out to me is the quality of like humanness. And at my core, I was client-centered Rogerian. I imagine that's very hard for you guys to imagine, like humanistic sort of thing. And so whenever I'd go on interviews, one of the things that I asked at all of my internship sites, because I was pursuing, believe it or not, some other non-military avenues. And so I would always ask, do you feel as if you're known as a person, not just a professional? And I remember when I came here, back in the old hospital, and saw the hallways lined with those pictures, I saw quickly that people here are valued for their humanness and for just who they are. And then I went to COT, and I had my pants practically scared off of me, and I was like, they don't care about you as people! You have to, like, no round corners, everything! And I was like, what did I do? Oh my God! And so I remember, and then similar idea, coming into your office, and I'm a big tchotchke person, and seeing what you had on the wall, I was like, I can be me. I can be me. And that brought with me a wave of relief. And so you taught me that, again, people are going to want to see you and benefit from seeing you. And I know I have very much. So just also had the benefit of working across the hall from you. So thank you very much for that. And I have not had the privilege of hitting many supervisors in the face with a ball before. You are the first, and I hope only the last. So thank you for understanding.
No, I hope you get that opportunity again.
Okay.
That's something that I really miss was like, you know, dodgeball is a lot of fun.
Yes.
That's part of the game.
Yes, it is. A fierce competitor, and very understanding if he was hit in the face with a ball. So maybe next time we wear the screen protectors in the COVID version in the future.
Yeah, if that's what it takes. No, I couldn't agree with you more about the sort of the being human, being yourself is really a huge part of being genuine, being an effective therapist. You know, I've said that sort of Air Force party line many times about, you know, we're very CBT oriented, but really the to me, the proof is in the pudding of, do your patients get better? Do they meet their goals? And however you get there, as long as it's ethical and legal, like, then you're doing the right thing. And none of it works if you're not a kind human. And you have to be one of the kindest souls that I think I've had the pleasure to get to work with. I know that you really love your animals, and just it's just kind of funny talking to you about all the various things like the comings and goings of squirrels, and like all the other
like cats in their bag,
the
their
cats
travel
in
bags.
their bag, yeah. So but that kind-heartedness is such an important quality, and I think again it's part of one of the pieces of the puzzle on putting this a sort of team together, which you guys really have become. And anyway, it's been my pleasure, and I don't know if my sound travels that far down, but also, glad that you're not offended by coarse language, which I do occasionally use. Usually at my computer because it's not working. But anyway.
Thank you, sir.
So I'll say one thing real quick. Actually, I got two of my favorite stories about Lt Col Cordry and my experience with him. So when I got accepted here, my school closed, right? Melina and our school closed. And and the cool thing about Lt Col Cordry is that no matter what the situation, he always has this very nonchalant approach. So he calls me and he goes, "Mr. Purring, so I heard your school closed." And he helped us through that, and I can't thank you more than enough for that, because that was a really dark time when we were trying to figure that all out. And then the other time was when I took a trip to the BVI, and I told my supervisors, but I also failed to tell him. So I'm in my office, it's the last day I'm supposed to leave, and he comes up, he knocks on my door, and he goes, "Captain Purring, so I heard you're going to the BVI." And at that moment, I knew I was in deep, deep shit. But that's been such the cool thing with Lt Col Cordry is no matter how much maybe shit we're in or how much trouble that we're in, he always has this very approachable approach with him. And I just thank you for your patience and your guidance and getting us through these tough times.
I appreciate it. No, it's been a lot of fun. I have to say that we have some other shared experiences too. I know that back in the day when we were still able to go to the gym, there's like a group of guys that were always sort of talking and joking around and everything. But anyway, I've always been impressed as you're over there lifting like these very heavy things and putting them down and
Putting them down.
Yeah, and then picking them back up again.
What?
But you always have such a pleasant attitude, and you didn't really freak out about the whole thing, and that's a good thing. Is to be able to be calm and understand. It's like pretty much everything's recoverable. That's the lesson learned in there for the most part. I mean, there may be some things you can do where it's like, okay, don't get a DUI, all right? That's really probably not recoverable. But other than that, most things you can come back from. But anyway, you've been so pleasant and always a good teammate. And also, one of the many people that have kind of that killer instinct. And I know Young's got killer eyes when it comes to dodgeball. So you kind of have not quite as fierce as she is about the dodgeball. But anyway, it's been a pleasure working with you. I'm so glad that you ended up coming here. So
thank you, sir.
Anybody else in the room or the?
Does anyone else want to circulate? We can
Are we
swap
going
out.
virtual now, or anybody on the chat box? I'm not sure where we are.
Does anybody on Skype want to say anything to Col Cordry? He can come over to the computer for a little bit as well.
I think have Daniel's hands up.
Looks like Captain Daniels would like to say a couple words.
hold on, I need to have some liquid refreshment.
As soon as he's over, you put it in.
Got to stay hydrated.
I'm pretty fast.
This is the way to go.
Yeah.
I want to say to you, you are one of the most fun people I have ever worked with. You're so smart and funny, but I think mostly spunky. Very, very spunky. You can quote all the funny lines of all the movies from yesterday. You're comfortable in your own skin, and you're so unassuming, and all of those qualities make you a joy to work with. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I hope this is recording because I'm going to play it on a
Into
loop.
the office and walking in the whole building. I love that you would just walk into my office and plop yourself in the chair. I think to myself, well, I guess he's coming to visit me now. I will say that you never brought me any peanut M&Ms. And many times you came and plopped yourself in the chair, no peanut M&Ms.
Well, you know, I was hoping that someday you'd replenish your candy and put some in there, but, you know.
Well, you know that even Colonel Vanacek frequently brought me cookies.
That's true.
So if we ever have a chance in the future, maybe I'll get some M&Ms. You moving next door also made me acutely aware that you are Mr. Popular, as well as the training director, because for more than 3 years there was usually someone hovering in the hallway, waiting for their turn to talk with you. Or maybe they just wanted M&Ms.
I didn't give them any either. It was any consolation.
I also want to say thanks for cleaning out my office after you trashed it. You're lucky that your office door was locked when I was there, because you know I was frequently checking the lock to see if I could get in. Sadly, I could not. I didn't have much to do with the residents trashing your office more recently, except for maybe I supplied some of the materials.
Yeah.
Thank you for being my rater for my OPRs. I know that made extra work for you. I have great visual images of you doing very funny things at work. One of which is you sitting in the gazebo after work playing Pokemon.
It was so convenient.
Now, that cracked me up. And I know you said, oh yeah, I have to do this to help my son.
That was my excuse.
And also, I want to say thank you for hula hooping on Wingman Day. That was certainly a hilarious sight to see. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap it up. So let me just say, go spread some good mental wellness, because work is for suckers.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything.
Thanks, Heidi. It's been so much fun getting to know you and your family too, and your mom and your cat. And you know, even though you live in a dangerous place, because like there's cobra skins and things that your cat drags in,
That's true.
You still fight through all those horrors and always do such a good job of keeping the residents in line, which I appreciate.
It's been a pleasure.
Mine as well.
Anybody else on Skype would like to say anything? All right, hearing none, I'll go ahead and type into the chat if we missed you. Otherwise, we'll let people, I know the folks in the break room are watching on YouTube. If you'd like to speak up and you're on YouTube, either join Skype or come to the room. You'll see it in 20 seconds.
You'll hear that in another 20 seconds.
Yep. Are there any comments in the chat spot? Major K? No?
Not as of yet, yeah.
Okay. So we can still get to anybody who makes a comment in the chat box if they want to speak up. But at this time, then we will turn it over to Colonel Cordry. Woohoo!
Well, I'll just say, to start, thank you to everybody that took the time to put this together and do all the decorating and say very nice things about me. It's always a little awkward when people say nice things about you in public. I appreciate it, but again, it's just always a little bit weird. I'm gonna do something that's kind of a tradition that it's a little early, but I'm gonna do it anyway because we're short on time. So at the end of the year, since I became training director, and actually when I took over for Vanacek for his last class, we kind of have this tradition of giving out some coins to the residents. With that coin also comes your X-Man name. And so I will say a few things about that before we get started. I have to say this every year. One, I've had to tap pretty deep into the Marvel universe, so sometimes my connections may be a little bit hard to follow, but understand that ultimately I have the microphone, so you have to listen to whatever I say. And so, no, you'll, hopefully, well, it doesn't really matter whether you're satisfied with your X-Men name. Not that it is your X-Men name. I will also say they aren't all X-Men names either. As it turns out, there's really not that many X-Men names, and I've had a fair number of residents that have come through. So, let's see here. I guess, I don't know, we can do this in kind of any order.
What do you need from us, sir?
I'm trying to decide what order to do it in. I guess we'll start with Major Brown, because, I mean,
all right.
You come first in the alphabet.
The alphabet, yeah.
Normally, I've done it backwards before, too, but I think I did it backwards last year, so we'll go back to normal.
Okay.
So Major Brown, I had a hard time thinking of what your superhero name was going to be. Again, you'll see my logic gets a little bit twisted. I thought about Captain Marvel, because you seem like somebody who's like super powerful, can blow up a lot of stuff, but you're me, so it doesn't really work very well. You know, then I thought, well, I know that you're comfortable using words that begin with F, because I use words that begin with F, and so that's how I got to your superhero name. And I decided that you could be Firestar.
Oh, I like that. Oh, yay.
Do we want to prepare? We're good. We normally do the same thing, but it's COVID. It's like it's messed the whole thing up. So.
Thank you. I
You're
love
welcome.
it.
Ooh, yay.
All right. So let's see here. Now I got to do my alphabet. Captain Davis, you're next, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yours was really easy, as it turns out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we just talked about it a minute ago. Your X-Men name is Squirrel Girl. It is a real Marvel character.
Yes.
Actually, you almost beat Thanos single-handedly in the comics. It's kind of, you know, her powers are, you know, essentially to communicate with squirrels, I think. I think she's got like a prehensile tail, but it seems like it just fits you perfect.
I don't know why.
Anyway, well, and I think it also could be because you dressed up as like a squirrel. You were one of the the many furred creatures that came to, for Halloween. So, congratulations, and
thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. All right, I think Captain Dale, you would be next. So the story that this one's actually, you know, this fits. It fits for me anyway. That goes with Captain Deo is that I used to introduce her or talk about her, and I'm always impressed with people who can speak many languages. And so, like every time I would say something about her, it would increase by like 1 or 2. It's like, oh, she speaks like 4 languages. She's like speaks 10 languages. And I think the total is what? Is it 4? 4. Wow. Okay, but still very impressive. I always think, you know, from a neuropsychologist standpoint, you know, we're always trying to think of like somebody's, what's their pre-morbid functioning and that sort of thing. And, you know, I think 4 languages, I think, that's somebody that's, you know, their brain's pretty good, pretty solid. Anyway, so your superhero X-Men name is Cypher, who's speak a billion languages. And so,
thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right. Let's see. I think Lugo, you'd be next, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, yours was kind of easy too, as it turns out. So, some of you may know that Captain Lugo is a big Harry Potter fan. If you don't know, go in her office. And I can see by some of the decorations that you may have had a hand in some of that as well. But always very creative, always, especially in therapy. And we've talked about a number of different cases, and that's one of the things that I think is really impressive about you. But because of your love of Harry Potter, your X-Man name is Scarlet Witch. So,
these are great.
All right, Captain Molina. All right, this one came to me when we were in a faculty meeting one day, and it just seems perfect. Especially when you have your shirt off, it makes it that much more perfect. I know that you are a gym rat, and I know that this has been hard not to be able to go to the gym. But you demonstrate a lot of the qualities of a particular character who's fiercely loyal and very fierce in their approach, and also some of the one-liners kind of suit you well. But you have the same kind of build as Drax the Destroyer. I kind of think of you as like when I think about Drax and when he says, nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast.
That's awesome, sir.
That's what I think of when I think of you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, it's definitely a compliment. So.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
All right, Captain Curry. All right, yours was pretty easy too. So I remember earlier in the year when you were introducing yourself and saying how to say your name is purring like a cat. Like, we've got to have something that is like a cat. But there aren't any really good cats in the Marvel universe. Not as many, but I did think of one who fits you and is also similar to you in terms of your, again, another gym rat. Not a hero, but your X-Men name is Sabretooth.
Thank you.
So, all right. So, let's see here. Captain Roy. All right, this one was hard for me too. I had to think about, I was thinking when I was in your office and I saw your red panda that like, how can I incorporate that into your X-Man name? Because that seems to be like that fits you. But it doesn't really fit any of the characters in the X-Man universe. But you do seem to be somebody who has a very positive attitude and a lot of positive things happen to. And so I thought, okay, so red and white, well, that doesn't work, but what if I was colorblind and it was black and white? Okay, that works, and your code name is Domino. Ooh! Your superpower is red. So,
there you go. It's not a superpower.
Isn't that one where she was like super lucky?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why you said okay.
Yeah. All right, Catherine. So yours was difficult. I was trying to think of like, what was the defining characteristic. I mean, I know that you're super fierce, super competitor, but you're also pretty quiet and unassuming, and like, have sort of almost like a cautious approach in some ways. And you remind me of Anna Paquin, so your code name is Rogue.
Oh, that's a good one.
And it was one of the X-Men I hadn't used before, so I'm out of X-Men now. Colonel Scouter, if you decide to continue that tradition, good luck. You may have to switch to DC Universe or something else. But no, it's been a pleasure working with all you guys this year. Anyway, that coin and $5 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So, I don't know, do you guys know like the whole story behind the challenge coin and like where that comes from? I know some of you do. I don't know, does anybody not know about the challenge coin?
I've heard some.
I'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, but
Okay, yeah, so the whole story behind the challenge coin, and this is you'll find it online and there's different versions of it, but I think it was one thing is World War I, some pilot dude, you get shot down behind enemy lines. The French soldiers capture this guy. I think he's an American pilot, and they're convinced that he's a German, and they think, well, you know what, it'd just be easier to shoot this guy right here and not have to deal with this. But he had some kind of a medallion that everybody in his unit wore as a way of identifying. One of them recognized it, and so hence the coin was sort of born. The whole idea behind the challenge coin, at some point in time in the future, we will be able to go back to bars. And if somebody does a coin challenge and you have a coin, you want to have your coin with you. Because if you don't have a coin, you're buying the drinks. if you have a coin, whoever issued the challenge has to buy the drink. So I don't know how that got from that story from the World War I to that tradition, but probably because pilots like to drink. I
hadn't heard that before.
Yeah. Well, there's some potentially, if you think too hard about the story, there's probably some holes in like the logic behind some of it. So I'm not sure that it's really true. And there's different traditions. Army claims that certain things, and Navy claims certain things. Anyway, they're a way of sort of identifying that you're part of a particular group, so that you don't get shot. So.
Okay. We will not get shot.
Or get a huge bar tab.
Yeah. Otherwise, you got to find a way to slip out the back. So.
Well, we have some things for you too, sir.
Oh.
That I don't know if you want to slap down on a bar after you see them, but you can make your own decisions. Have you? First. Okay, so I don't think anything that we can give you really like symbolizes how much we appreciate you, but we're gonna try with this. So I'm just gonna run over something. Okay. So the first thing that we have for you is just so you can like celebrate your retirement. Be careful.
Ooh.
If you're gonna point this at somebody, make sure it's somebody you don't like, because it will hurt.
That's like industrial strength party popper right there.
There's a rubber part that can very much be like a bullet.
Okay, I will make sure I don't put anybody's eye out. Thank you, that's very cool.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah, that's all you got. And so, we know that now that you're retired, you'll get to enjoy your time more. So this is both of those are to help you enjoy your time. You can open them up and see what they are. If you
Okay,
want.
all right. Not today, ISIS. Oh, I love that. That is perfect.
Regular guy
And then since we know that
Now I just need to have somebody to, I need to have my bar opened up again.
And since we know that you love them so much.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you. If Jen Daniels was here, I'd share. I may leave some in her desk or a chair. Yeah, she'll be
Why
back
break
someday.
tradition, sir?
Thank you very much.
We also know that you do have to go back to work at some point. Unfortunately, it's not going to be with us, but we wanted you to go back to work in style.
Oh, very nice. Ooh. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, work is for suckers. And winning is for winners. Absolutely. That's great. Thank you, guys. Perfect.
And last but not least, for those nights where you're missing us so much and you can't fall asleep, we got you something to help you fall asleep.
Very nice. Good night, Brew. Very cool. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate that. That's very nice. I appreciate that you got me some things that all of my catchphrases are captured, and I say them enough, so I guess it would be hard not to have caught them at some point over the course of the year. Thank you very much for this, guys. I appreciate it.
So, just in case you didn't have enough to look at to soothe yourself as you're trying to fall asleep, we have this beautiful Air Force themed scrapbook. And I think we all need to just reflect here on the first page. Brad Pitt somehow found his way into the scrapbook. And if you were confused about what some of your favorite quotes have been, or at least what we've heard, we also have that in the scrapbook as well. And so please know that Lieutenant Colonel Oates worked really, really hard, as did Major Brown, to connect with past residents as well and get some well wishes for you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
and Captain Davis put the entire scrapbook together.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. Oh, thank you. That is very, very kind. Oh, man, I'm impressed.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Well,
That's all we have.
Thank you very much. Well, these pages are coded too, so if I start tearing up, I won't.
That too. Or
you know.
spill beer. Or
Yeah,
confetti.
exactly. Oh, that is amazing. Oh, look at that intensity.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
That might be our gingerbread. I think that
that
is us putting together gingerbread.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I definitely remember. I wanted to be on Captain Young's team because I knew she'd cut somebody.
And that's why we won, sir.
Winning is for winners. What can I say? Oh, that is amazing. Thank you guys so much. I really, this is very meaningful to me, and this is this is awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate that.
You're so welcome. And in case you're not enough of a winner, we wanted to offer you as well this beautiful COVID Corona cup.
I don't think
you
I
might
deserve
have
that.
seen it in the break room because winners deserve trophies, and we wanted you to have that if you would like to also bring that home. Know that that's yours, even just for the toilet paper.
You know,
I'm just saying.
I will let you out of toilet.
Yeah.
That is actually, well, I don't know. It started to come back a little bit. I don't know if I could deprive the clinic of this fine trophy. But,
Understood, sir. But know that you've earned it. You got first dibs.
Well, thank you very much.
Are there any more comments on the chat? Anybody that wants to?
No more comments on the chat that I can see, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else? Any last save rounds? All right. Well, we will have a grand finale with a slideshow. And so I know Major K needs to set that up. Do you need to do some ROEs with that? Or change
Yeah,
them?
just as I'm getting it all ready. So the folks on YouTube, you're going to get the slideshow played directly. And the folks in the room here will get it on the projector here. So.
And while Major Kopinski is doing that, to everybody, this will be the last time we get to close out. So I do want to put one final plug in for Colonel Cordry's retirement ceremony on 5 June. A similar setup as today, where we'll be live streaming. So we want to make sure that anybody that wants to participate can. And then we'll have a little in-house live kind of scenario as well. So thank you everybody for attending and really sending Colonel Cordry off with an awesome, awesome farewell. Again, larger than life superhero to all of us. That's very evident. And thank you so much for everything that you've meant to us. And so we're going to honor you with a slideshow. Can you move this?
Out along the edge, it's always where I burn to be. Further on the edge, hotter the intensity. Highway to the danger zone. Gonna take it right into the danger zone. Highway to the danger zone. Right into the danger
What would you do if you were asked to give up your dreams for freedom? What would you do if asked to make the ultimate sacrifice? Would you think about all them people who gave up everything they had? Would you think about all them war vets? And would you start to feel bad? What would you do? Freedom isn't free. It costs folks like you and me. And if we don't all chip in, we'll never pay that bill. Freedom isn't free. No, there's a hefty hooking fee. And if you don't throw in your bucko 5, who will? Never pay bucko 5. Freedom costs a bucko 5.
approaching to give it your best, and you've got to reach your prime. That's when you need to put yourself to the test.
Coming towards her, stuck still, no turning back. She hid around corners and she hid under beds. She killed it with kisses, and from it she fled. With every bubble she sank with a drink and washed it away down the kitchen sink. The dog days are over, the dog days are done. The horses are coming, so you better run. Run past mother, run past for your father, run for your children, for your sisters and brothers. Leave all your love and your longing behind. You can't carry it with you if you want to survive. The dog days are over, the dog days are done. Can you hear the horses? Get
Hold up. Hold up.
Wonderful.
That was awesome.
Captain Dale? Yes, thank you for that.
Great job with that.
Yes, wonderful.
I'm glad there weren't any pictures of me in the first cohort almost getting thrown out of the bar at on top of the Washington Hotel. So I don't think anybody took any pictures. So I think that was my comment, was we shouldn't record this. Thank you guys. That's awesome. That was a great show. That just brings back so many memories of this. Is the best job that there is in the Air Force. I don't care what anybody else says. So, unfortunately, there are only 2 people who get to do it really at a time. But I hope that somebody from here gets to do this again, because it is just a blast. So,
Thank you, sir.
thank you guys.
Big thank you to everybody who helped put together today's events, and especially to Major Kalpinski and his technical crew. So thank you so much. It's awesome. I think you're going to record that and give it to it's okay, perfect, awesome. Yay, see? All right, well, there's cake and refreshments if you want, and stick around and rip some more to
That's right. And tattoos and stickers and games. Yeah.
Let's open this popper up. We
Oh,
probably got indoors.
there you
We might have a fire drill. And,
You're roasting, you gotta be.
yeah, I know, but my shirt would be all sweaty and gross.
Well. Oh, good.
One of the things that I got, you've probably seen my little headband that Vanacek's class got me. There's this thing, it's this training director 2017, because they used to come to the HIT class, and I had to apologize because they were at the station behind me. I'm like, yeah, sorry about that puddle of sweat that I left in the push-up station.
Awesome. I'm gonna just put this stuff in your office. I got it.